Okay, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to talk with you about the Campbell Soup controversy. You know, the controversy where the Campbell Soup executives slam the food that they make, his Indian coworkers that make the food, and the people, us, that buy it. Basically, he slammed everybody and it was secretly recorded. And in case you missed it, well, here it is.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy. Now that I know what the is in it. Even in a can of soup, I look at it and we can eat bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer, do you?
So, to put everything into context, a former Campbell's employee secretly records a private meeting with now ex senior executive Martin Bally. See, Bally was one of the top leaders responsible for, ironically, security. Now, you heard the recording, but Martin basically just says that the food is poor quality. It's 3D printed engineered meat, he says. It's for poor people. Who's buying this? And made by Indian workers who are idiots. His words and not mine. And then in an instant, his world is turned upside down. But this is the thing. This isn't just about, okay, this guy, he said something dumb. This is about what happens when leadership, when it loses alignment, when we lose our humility, and when we lose respect. And that's where the value is for us, because this is bigger than soup. This is about culture. See, when someone who's high up in an organization, when they speak with arrogance or disrespect or their superiority, even in private, it tells you something. It tells you that that leader, that person has forgotten that leadership is not a position. That leadership is a responsibility. So let me remind you, culture doesn't start in the employee handbook. It starts in those private conversations behind those closed doors. Culture is built in private, but it's revealed in public. And sometimes, as in this case, when we least expect it. And it's important for us to learn from moments like this, because moments like this, they matter. So I want to offer just some quick leadership observations for us all that we can learn from this situation. And the first thing that I would point out is that your private words reveal your real leadership. There's power in your private words, the things that you speak, the things that you do when no one is around. So you can post all the inspirational quotes that you want to post. You can send that email out to your valued customers explaining how much you value them and you appreciate them. You can give a polished keynote or a teaching, but who you are when the doors close, that's the leader that your team ultimately experiences. See, when your private attitude doesn't match your public values, eventually those two worlds are going to collide. And when they do, you don't just lose credibility, you lose the very thing that every leader needs the most. You know what it is? It's trust. So leaders, this is my encouragement. Build the person that you want to be privately, so you can give it to those that you lead publicly. I say this often. The hardest person that you will ever lead is yourself. But the faster that you learn that, the faster that you learn at leading you and those that you lead, everyone will be healthier because of the leadership that you bring to yourself. And let me remind you that if you can't lead yourself, your charisma, it can often carry you places that your character cannot keep you. So I want to extra encourage you and put emphasis here. Build your character. Second observation is that the culture that you tolerate is ultimately the culture that you create. That's right. The culture that you tolerate is the culture that you create. See, leaders set the temperature. Always, you're setting the tone. So if you joke about your own customers, well, your team learns, oh, it's okay to look down on the people that we serve. If you take cheap shots at your coworkers, your team learns, hey, disrespect, it's a part of our culture. It's okay here. If you treat your product like it's a punchline, that 3D printed meat, see, your team learns that the mission, that the purpose that you're all trying to fulfill together, it's really not that serious. And people will follow who you are. People are not going to just follow what's printed on the wall. People aren't just following what's in the manual. People are following who you are, because as the leader, you're setting the tone. You're setting the culture. Your actions, your words, all that you do, you set the bar. And at the end of the day, leadership, it's not measured by titles. Leadership isn't measured by the speeches that you give or the policies that you set. Your leadership is measured by the environment that you create and the example that you set. So here is the responsibility. Every word, every joke, every comment, all of these things, it sends a signal about what's acceptable, what's valued, and what's ignored. See, people will learn by your actions what they can or they cannot do, what is valuable or what's devalued, not by what's written, by what is demonstrated. And then the things that are ignored, they'll learn. We can do this because no one really cares. So the real question isn't about what your posters say on the wall. It's not about what's written in that handbook. It's about what your actions, as the leader, what do your actions say about who you are as their leader? And then the third thing here is that trust is expensive, but losing it, it costs you even more. We all know that trust is hard to build. It's expensive. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of attention, and it takes a lot of time. But when you lose it, it costs you so much more. Trust takes years, but seconds to lose. Years to build, seconds to lose. And sometimes you can see it in the actions of others. It can take forever to rebuild. And leaders don't miss this. See, Bally wasn't just talking. Those weren't just words that were recorded. See, there's power in your words. By his words in that conversation, by the disrespect that came from his mouth, it cost the company. It cost the company their time. It's cost the company their money. It's cost them reputation, morale, loyalty, and ultimately it cost him his job. See, when team members think that leadership secretly disrespects them or the mission that they're all on together, two things happen here. One, they disengage. They pull back from your leadership and they pull back from the work that they're doing. And secondly, they stop believing that the mission matters. They don't really believe that what they do matters the way that you said that it did. The vision that you cast, the purpose that you gave, they're just going to stop believing and they're going to disengage. And ultimately, when this happens, this is the recipe for how companies lose their momentum. And we all know how valuable momentum is. Look, this isn't complicated. Every word, every action, your attitude, all of this from a leader, it's either building trust or it's breaking it. See, protecting trust should not be optional for you. It should be essential. You should respect and honor the trust that you have from your team. So if you want your team to trust you, you have to act with integrity. You have to respect them, and you have to be consistent in every action, in everything you do every single day. So have integrity, have respect, and have consistency. Look, trust is the foundation of the momentum. We just said it. The way you disengage people and you lose that momentum and how important that momentum can be. Well, trust, it's the foundation of that momentum. And once you break it, once it's broken, no strategy, no meeting or memo can fully replace it. It takes time. So treat the trust that you have, the trust, treat it with respect. And look, if you're confused on how to do that, just treat people with respect and then watch your trust grow. Treat people the way they deserve to be treated. Honor them, treat them fairly the way you would want to be treated, and watch your trust grow. This is what you can take away from our time and our conversation today. Here's what I want you to get. Leadership isn't a title. Leadership is actually a test. It's a test that every day you're either building it up or you're breaking it down. So the next time you're leading a team, you're talking to your coworkers, or if you're just complaining about work, look, ask yourself this one very sobering, very important question, and it will hold you in accountability. If this conversation was leaked, would I be proud of it? Talking to your coworker, talking to your team, talking to the people that you lead, talking to your bosses about the position you have or the company that you serve. If this conversation was leaked, would I be proud of it? Because sooner or later, what's private becomes public. And it may not be through the recordings that are called, but I can promise you it will become public through the culture that you set. So make sure that you can say, I am proud of the words and the actions of my life. So what do you think about Campbell's controversy? I'd love to discuss this with you in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspective and maybe your experiences in the place that you work. And hey, if you got value from this, hey, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and then share this with someone who could benefit from the conversation we've had today. And if you're looking for more, great news. I've got another good one coming up now.